All right, everyone. Good afternoon. Great to see you, Judith. Hi. And great to have you here. Laura, what's happening? Always
Hey,
at these sessions. Oh, Judith, I have you twice for some reason. That's okay. Grace, how are you doing over there? Wonderful. I know,
I'm in twice.
I don't know, I have two Judith Lisanskis in here, but that's okay. Um,
That's weird.
yeah, double the Judith. No problems there. Laureen, good to see you. Right
I,
on. Great to have some of my Smithsonian friends here. Yvette, good to see you again. It's been a minute. Barbara, great to have some of my recent students here. Roberta, Mary, are you painting in oil? You're standing up and you got a whole apron on.
Maybe, not
Okay.
sure.
Yet to be determined. To be determined what medium. Exactly. Cool. All right. Kathy, Candy. Hey, there you
Oh,
are.
there
Good
we
to
are.
see you, Candy. Yeah,
It worked.
yeah, it works. It all
Yeah.
works. All right. And Emma, yeah, I have double the Emma in here too, which is totally
Oh,
fine.
sorry.
No, no, don't be sorry. It's really all right. Um, all right. So, welcome to the practice hour. We're back. I took a break in July because I was busy with some life things. But I'm happy to be back here, zooming in from sunny Dublin. Okay,
Oh,
just like 10 minutes ago, it was super cloudy and gloomy. It's been a gloomy Sunday, but I can show you now, actually, out the window. Maybe you could see it in the
oh,
tree.
it's
There's a
beautiful.
little bit of sunshine coming through this Sunday evening. Anyways, we are here to paint. So, as always, this series is brought to you in collaboration with the Leo Marchutz School of Painting and Drawing, where all of my art education and training.
Recording in progress.
All right. So I the Marchutz School offers pro- uh, great in-person and online programs throughout the year to deepen your practice and art appreciation. And there's a couple things I'd like to highlight for you real quick. So one, for all of us who are here to watercolor, remember, it's entirely up to you what medium you use in these practice sessions. But for those of us who are interested in practicing watercolor and taking our and getting a little more structured practice with watercolor, maybe even forging or strengthening the connection between our eye and our hand in watercolor, I will be offering this online class, Vision Process and Quick Watercolor Studies, at the beginning of next year. So after the holidays, after the new year, it's a great way to dive back into your creative process. So feel free to read more about that. I will drop that in the chat, the link for that in the chat right now. So click on that, open the window, feel free to minimize it and come back to it later. But that'll be usually we get a nice group of people who are just interested in, getting a refresher in some of the watercolor techniques and getting a little bit of like drills in. So that's a fun way to start the year creatively. And then also, for those of us who are in New York or going to New York in October, who want to, you know, learn to look deeper into artwork and deepen their appreciation of artwork with a group of people who are passionate about doing the same. The Marchutz School is hosting this weekend at the Met in New York City this October. So I will also give you the link for that for those who are interested. Finally, also on my website, there are things for you here. Site and in.site is where all of my teaching work is. And if you'd like to stay in the loop for these practice sessions, sign up, go to site and in.site. The link is in the chat right now. Scroll down the front page and sign up for practice memos. And that's a great way to get some monthly inspiration in your inbox and also, yeah, stay in the loop for these practice sessions. There's some other fun things here to check out as well. My TED Talk, a book I wrote during the pandemic, all about, getting out of your head while in the creative process, but just want to share that with you all. because there are some resources for you. Anyways, let's move right into the practice. So I'll stop sharing this. So it was a great day today, and I wanted to do something colorful. And also with the Smithsonian, I just wrapped up my class on Van Gogh. So I figured we could work on this. All right. Let me make this bigger. If only all of these windows. Boom. Beautiful. All right. Make you just a touch smaller. Oh, actually, sorry, everyone. The image will stay up, but I still have a few more notes that I need to read. So let me keep it this size, but feel free to get started on the image. Um, like I said, I wanted to pick something that was rather colorful. There we go. Beautiful. So, some guidelines and reminders for the practice session. This is an opportunity for all of us to get some practice. It is not a class. I do not have a planned lesson for you all. When working from the masterwork, the goal is not to make a forgery, but to have your own experience with the masterwork and practice putting it together according to whatever key relationships and essential elements you see. Make your own parallel image with your own individual touch. It can still be an opportunity to learn. I will be sharing insights about my process as the session unfolds. If watching me work will benefit you in this session, I recommend switching your Zoom meeting to side-by-side speaker view. Okay? Then you can take your cursor from the reference image, slide it to the right, and a vertical bar will appear that you can click and drag across your screen to make my desk, which I'll spotlight in just a moment, the same size or as big as you want next to the reference image. Okay? Feel free to ask me questions about what I'm doing or how I'm approaching this image. It can still be an opportunity to learn, like I said. But if you don't have something to say, I kindly ask that you remain muted just to eliminate any, sirens driving down Connecticut Avenue if you're in DC or barking dogs, that sort of thing. All right. And likewise, if you're just in your zone and you just want to work and you don't want to listen to me, feel free to mute me. I won't take it personally. I totally understand. Special thank you to our returning participants who regularly contribute. We're happy to offer this monthly online practice hour at no cost to our community. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation to support the mission of the Leo Marchutz School of Painting and Drawing. Donations can be made at the link that I am dropping in the chat right now. So you have 4 links to check out in the chat. Feel free to click on them and minimize the windows and get to them later. But there's fun stuff for you to participate in and contribute to, and ways for you to contribute to the work that the Leo Marchutz School is doing. So let me maximize this window, and then I will spotlight my desk so that we could get to work. All right. Very, very good. All right. So I am certainly going to watercolor this. I wanted to do something in color. This was an example I sort of brought up in my Van Gogh class with the Smithsonian that just wrapped up for just a moment. And I actually regret that we didn't have more time to look at it. But, the colors of it have stuck with me. The simple blue, orange color harmony has stuck with me for the past few days leading up to this session. I knew I had to choose something, and this was kind of just an obvious choice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with watercolor, but I am also a little bit desperate to draw. So I have here some watercolor pencils that I'm going to be using. I'll get to that a little bit later, I think. I think the way I'm going to go about this is to start with just some major washes, to sort of get some major relationships and parts of this composition down. Um, so mostly working in wet technique for the beginning of this is what I think I'll do. And then when I want to get, drawing into it, I'll switch to some of these colored pencils. But I'll get to that later. That'll be sort of like the second stage of this study for me. So let me start with water. And actually, even before that, usually what I like to do, my paper is not the same proportions, okay, as the image. It's close, but it's not quite the same. And I usually like to draw just a rectangle on here, roughly the same proportions as what I'm about to copy. Yeah, cool. Something like that. Nothing crazy. And then from here, I can start getting into some major washes. So I got a big brush, I got some clean water, and I'm just gonna go for that yellow, that warm yellow I see everywhere. Um, so not being shy at all. And also, when I start with this wash, I know that I'm not gonna fuss too much about getting the architecture perfect at this stage. If I start with the yellow, okay, I know I can do a wash of that deep blue in the sky, and that can probably cover up any mistakes I make with the yellow. So I'm not gonna say reckless per se, but I'm really not gonna stress too much about getting things perfect with the yellow at this stage. I just need to start making my surface resemble what we are looking at. All right. So a little bit of yellow never hurt anybody. Let's drop it down and see what we get. Now within the yellow, I definitely see that there are areas that are lighter, and areas that are a little mintier. There's the faces, those mint green faces on the right side. I definitely see those, but again, I am not going to stress about that right now. I just want to get sort of a nice layer of yellow happening a little bit everywhere, and then, I'll finesse it in a moment. So bringing in a little bit of white into my yellow to get some of this some of these like milkier chalked out areas in the bottom. I think that'll do for now. And while it's still wet, I'm going to take my paper towel, all right, and start bringing out some of the faces of the architecture that I see. So again, not trying to make anything perfect, but just pulling out some of the color. All right. There we go. So yeah, while it's wet, I can lift up some of the color, um, make some of these areas lighter, okay? But they still, are gonna have that yellow, transparency to them. This sidewalk comes a little bit more diagonally than I have, and that's okay. All right, but we could start with that for now. Another thing I might do is, I could take my brush, okay, again, not loaded up with color, but just with water. And if I really want to, it's possible to scrub away some of the faces of the architecture here. There we go. So we're still preserving some of the light. Nice. So right now I'm doing a little bit of scrubbing. Now that I've got this yellow wash down, I'm kind of just trying to shape it a little bit. So I'm going to scrub a little bit, trying to want to leave some light at the foot of these buildings, and eventually, maybe I'll get to some of that minty yellow goodness down there. The rest, I'm not going to worry about too much right now. There's maybe a little bit more that I can do right here. I see now that the street is forming itself a little bit, I could put a little bit of yellow there. Okay. And, there's this bridge happening here. There's going to be some green there, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's see. Maybe I'll scrub a little bit of this out. It's funny, I saw yellow and blue at the beginning, but now I'm so preoccupied by these minty green sides of the buildings there. So yeah, I just try to follow my curiosity sometimes. Maybe you didn't see it at first, but I definitely want to leave some room for it. All right. Not bad. Not bad at all. Boom. Just dropping in some yellow here for the sidewalk that goes into the distance. All right. So I'm gonna go next for that minty green. It's really pale and light, I'm seeing. So I want to just get some light washes of that where I see it belongs, and then I'll go for the sky. I'll go for the sky as well as some of these trees um, over on the left side. So laying some washes down, laying some water down, no paint yet. And generally just gonna try and get some some minty green. Let's see what we can get here. So I'm putting a lot of white into this green, and I'm going to dilute it quite a bit because I do want it to be rather transparent. I will admit that the water I used to put down, there we go, nice. The water I used to put down to wet my surface, I actually took from my dirty water container because it's yellow right now. I've only painted yellow, so my dirty water is yellow. And I think I'm cool with letting that mix into some of this minty green that I'm putting down so that it's not completely green. All right. So we'll go with that. I found this to be a little too dark, so while it's still wet, I'm just gonna pick it back up with my brush. Boom, boom. Right. All right, so we got some minty goodness, some yellow niceness, and then let's go for a blue sky. All right, so got that wash, or got that part of my paper wet, and let's just start dropping in some of the blue that I want there. It's cooler in some parts, so I'm mixing a little bit of the green from that minty situation I had earlier. All right, as it moves to the right, I'm going from a cooler green to a slightly warmer green, just because that's kind of what I sense when I look in there. And then switching back to a cooler green as it gets down to the bottom. Wow. All right, I think we're gonna live with that for now while it's wet. Let me drop a little bit of I'm not going to worry about getting these perfect right now, but I do want to start getting the green and the yellow of these trees where I see them. Let's see. So this actually comes down a little bit into that area of yellow that I had. I think that'll do just fine. Maybe a little bit of blue. Some of these areas. Right. And All right, so I got some trees emerging over here. Again, a little darker than I want, so I'm just taking the side of my brush, which I know is dry, and sort of picking out those areas. The sky looks all right for right now. If I need to add more layers, I'll add more later. Actually, you know, that'll do for now, I suppose. Maybe just a little more of a warmer ultramarine blue on the right side, and then I think this will deserve a minute or two just to absorb into the paper. Boom. Right, so sky is drying, absorbing into the paper. The bottom half, still a little moist, but for the most part dry. I'm gonna start working in it just for the sake of time. I'm still going to do a little bit more in painting before I switch to my pencils. So I'm looking at these oranges, one, two, three, four, five, six or so. That's what my eye is interested in right now, and I'm just gonna follow that, um, and drop a little bit of those moments where I see them, and hopefully that'll give me a little more articulation to the architecture that I've got going on. Let's see, I want to get, see how much of this top here. I can articulate voila, where that roof is. Drop a little orange there. Now it looks like the next roof drops down quite a bit. Just a couple touches there. And maybe one more before we get down to this bridge. So it means I'll have to do a little more in blue above it, but so be it, no big deal. What else do I want to get? This down here, so roughly, yeah, why not? All right, why not there? Why not here? Oops. Not quite the shape I want, but you know what? It's gonna do for right now. I'm not gonna worry about it. And then I'm gonna sort of slowly try to modulate back to like a golden yellow to try and get this part. Let's see. Maybe a little yellow in there for good measure. The trees deserve a little bit because there's so much golden parts of the trees. So I'm not going to be shy about that. Maybe a little more golden action here. And you know what? I'm gonna do like a nice little wash there. Drop a little more here. Something a little chalkier with some white. All right, cool. I can tell I'm fussing with these trees. I'm not pleased with them, but you know what? It's, let it be, Nick. Let it be. I think the only other like general color I really want to get down here, there's also there are these funny little, how do I say? I don't even know. Well, I'm not going to try to name the color, but the warm red tertiary lavender things happening in the street. I think I could benefit from a little bit of that. So I want that to be pretty diffuse, amorphous. So I'm just going to put some water down on my paper and then drop those generally where I see them. We're really not trying to finesse anything here just yet. Just get the colors down. So again, I'm looking at the ground, okay? There's yellow, all right? There's a golden yellow bottom right corner. In the left, there's sort of this like funny tertiary warm lavender gray situation going on that I think I've probably made a little too red, but whatever. This is just practice. Um, and then there's that again, that like, man, this minty green is going to be haunting me for a while, I think. But to cool down certain parts of my foreground, I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm just putting down, my dirty water container right now is quite minty, believe it or not. So I'm just putting that down and I'm going to let that absorb and let it do its thing. I'm not gonna worry about it. I want this all to absorb and I want to start. I think I'm ready to start just going into this with a little bit of colored pencil, um, just to pick out certain features of the architecture that I think are really important, and to, yeah, make all of this in the middle sort of come alive. Let's see what I can come up with. Now, I have, while this is absorbing, usually if I have a set, I'll admit, I do this less than half the time where I try and mix watercolor pencil into my watercolors. It's something I'm curious about. It's not something I practice super religiously, but I have a few here. Honestly, I think there are some colors missing that may be back at my home in Washington. So be it. I'm going to work with what I have here. But usually when I do this, work, I like to just pick a harmony and just work in that harmony for everything. I don't really like to use every color just where I see it. So I've already got a lot of blue and orange down. I'm going to pick a sort of a secondary harmony that I see going on in this image, which I'm going to call green and red. All right. And I've got a brown colored pencil here that I'm going to use, to my advantage as well. Yes, I said it. All right. I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit so you can maybe see a little more of the textures I try and make. And maybe, I think that's still pretty light enough. If I block the, here, you know what? I will turn on the light just so, there we go. I want to make sure you all can see if this is helpful to you. What I love about being so far north is that it stays light late. So I usually get a lot of really good natural light, for these things, even when I'm doing them in my evening and the East Coast afternoon. Um, but even still, sometimes it's nice to put a little more light on this thing just to make sure you all can see it. Just a moment while I spray my, whoops, there you go. So something I like to do sometimes when I work in watercolor, I think I've spoken to some of you about my secret weapon, the spray bottle. Okay. Something I've taken to doing is if I am working and I do want it to be a little bit moist to retain a little bit of that moist, yeah, just keep the paper moist. What I'll do is I'll spray this, but I'll spray it sort of in the area above my paper and let the droplets sort of mist down onto it just to keep it moist. Yeah, so I can get some nice diffuse strokes. Um, so that's something I've sort of been playing with lately. And I don't like to do it right on my desk just because, when I do these sessions, I do have my computer and I don't really want, or sometimes even my tablet, and I don't really want that getting wet, frankly. So just please excuse me while I remove my work to spray it. Like for example, I painted this orange area. Let me just accentuate certain parts of it with a couple strokes of my colored pencil. Doesn't turn out so bad. So true. I'll admit, I'm trying to, you know, Oh no. Hmm. Okay, let's start bringing some other parts of this in here. So, all right. So I'm coming in with, let's see, what I got my brown colored pencil here. And I just want to pick out some of the major shapes. Not sure how this is going to turn out, but worth a shot. Always down for some experimentation. There's some artists out there who are really wonderful at combining vivid color with watercolor and sort of this like sketchy, loose, maybe even naive sort of sensibility in drawing. And I think I've been inspired by that for a while now and just haven't really quite disciplined myself to sit down and actually try it. But, I wonder if the answer is somewhere, yeah, in combining, media where you paint and media where you draw. So, trying that out here. It is the practice hour after all. Um, and we'll see what comes up. Not convinced yet, but that is okay. See, something I don't quite get about colored pencils is that you can't, it's just a little harder to control exactly how much comes out, like how much of the color from the colored pencil comes out onto your paper. But I don't know. That's something I need to work on, I guess. All right, what's happening in the back here? right. Whatever. I've done some stuff with the architecture. I think I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not, I don't want to fuss over it too much. What I do want to do is sort of adjust some of my sky a little bit. There are some areas where I'm going to want to scrub out, and some areas where I'm going to want to make the sky come down a little bit. So let's start by scrubbing out. Taking some water in my brush. And yeah, I want to bring.
Do we get to see everybody's pictures?
Yeah, absolutely, Judith. We got like 10 minutes left in the session, and I'll make sure that we can.
Oh, really? I thought it was 2 o'clock already.
Yeah, but I want to give you all like a proper hour with the image, not just when the meeting starts and I'm still blabbing away about stuff. You know what I mean? Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So, yeah, let's. We could say 9 minutes. Yeah, it just turned 2 o'clock. Let's give it 9 more minutes. Um, yeah, don't worry, Judith. I'm not rushing out of here just yet. Um, Okay, so I scrubbed away this part because I want to make the architecture come out just a little bit more. If I'm being good, I'm gonna extend this rooftop just a little bit. All right, and then what I want to do next is start bringing in some of the blue. So this definitely needs to shoot. Yeah. That definitely needs to be more sky down there. Okay. And I want this. And then here. I'm gonna go with that. Look at this. Totally forgot about this train situation over here. But that's okay. Green awning, a little more architecture there. Go back. And then I'm gonna want to bring some of that yellow in. So right now I'm kind of just, I guess, doing some finishing touches. I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place with this. This definitely turned out much more different than I thought it was going to, but you know, that's part of the name of the game. You just go into it and see what happens. Expectations, what are those? You have expectations for a painting, and Van Gogh just laughs from the grave. Can't do this, Nick. A little bit left. Let's see, we get some. Yeah, tough piece. Tough piece, but that's okay. All right, I'm gonna try and lighten up this last face of the building. How about we keep working for about 5 more minutes, everyone, just to keep you all, give you a heads up on time. Um, let's keep working for 5 more minutes, and while we are wrapping up, um, I will want to take a screenshot with everyone's work that Rose will email out to everyone in her follow-up email to this practice session. Another thing that I'm going to ask Rose to include is this watercolor survey that I've been sending out to students of mine. I want to create more watercolor programming um, for the Marchutz School. So I have created a little survey to hear from you all. I mean, people who, come to this practice hour who want to participate in things online. I'm not only trying to make things online, I want to do things in person as well, and even abroad for those of us who like to take their art practice overseas. But yeah, basically, I have a watercolor survey that I want you to keep an eye out for in Rose's follow-up email to this session. It just asks you a few questions about topics you're interested in, maybe some things you're struggling with in your practice, and I use that to create, programs and classes and workshops for the future. So please keep an eye out for Rose's follow-up email to the session. In it will be a group photo that we're going to take in a minute with all of our work so that you all can get inspired by what everyone else does in this session, a watercolor survey, and then also information on the next practice session in September. Off the top of my head, I don't know the date, but the date has been determined already. So yeah, you can keep an eye out for that as well. Blue, man, look at what blue is doing in such subtle ways. And not so subtle with the sky, of course, but like this awning here on the left, this blue, my goodness. I don't know that I've seen that before. And of course, a lot of the figures have blue, and a lot of the windows have blue. Try and get a little bit of that in right now. Oh, that is way more blue than I want to come out, but you know what? We are going to roll with it. And right on. Boom. 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 And lastly, you want a little more yellow in some of these. Here too, for sure. Let's see. All right, that may have to be as yellow as I can make it right now. Let's actually see if I can do this real fast. All right, everyone, how about one more minute left? I'm just gonna lift some of this. I put a little too much down. Voila. Hey, voila. All right, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to live with that. Wow, not an easy piece. Not an easy piece. You see the yellow, you see the blue, and you think, oh, it's just, two main colors. And then how everything puts itself together. Way more difficult than I thought. But you know what? It's not about how it turned out. It's the fact that we all showed up for a little bit of practice today. That's what's important. Oop, excuse me. All right, everyone. In just a moment, I'm going to remove the image and ask us all to show what we've got. I'll take a couple of screenshots that we can all share. I'm excited to see what you do. I'm always excited to see what you all do. And actually, I will put this over here, get my camera on it, so that there we go. You can be featured in it too, buddy. Oops. Not my strongest. I think this kicked my butt, but so be it. You get better by doing the things you can't do. All right, everyone. So Van Gogh is going away. Say bye, Van Gogh. Bye, Yellow House. Bye. Okay, cool. And let's see what we got here. So chat, participants. I'm going to drop this in gallery view. All right, and let me remove my spotlight. All right, everyone. So I see some people looking down at our work wondering, what did I just make? I see you, Yvette, shaking your hand, your chin in your hands. It's okay. It's okay. It's just practice. It's just practice. But I would love to see what you all have done. If you all could kindly hold up to your cameras what you've got going on. Beautiful. Oh, Mary, we did do oil. Look at you. That's a pretty big oil. Not bad. Oh, on paper, but still gorgeous work, everyone. All right. Laura, I like it. I like the architecture. You're really focused on all the different, angles of the roofs and stuff there. That's really wonderful.
I'm taking your drawing for the master's class. So I started out with, I did get your Fermetta color pencil.
Okay.
And then I used my oil pastels. I'm taking a class in oil pastel. I've never used them. So I thought I'd try it.
Gorgeous. All right, everyone. Here, hold them right up to the camera real quick, just so I can take a couple screenshots. Nice, everyone. So great to have you here. So great to have you back in the practice hour after a short break. Um, Lovely work, people. Grace, I love the strokes in the sky. It's so integrated. Judith, nice big foreground. Love that. And too, I love how you kept the light in the foreground. That's really nice. Yeah, I could too. I could learn a thing or two from how you all put it together. All right. Oh, Candy, you included the people in the right. And Roberta, I love your foreground too. Some of you really did some nice work in the foreground. I think I was really missing something there. But I love the different textures that you all came up with in the foreground. Yeah. All right. Laureen, I love your sky too. I love the sort of, you went for something different with Mango Sky. Nice and patchy, and some of the transparency and light comes through. Yeah. So, and Mary, so we did do oil, correct? Is that right? Yeah? Oil on paper. Cool. All right. I'm reading your lips. All good. All right, everyone. This has been a joy. It is great to see you all. I look forward to doing this again in a month. Yes, Grace, the light in me recognizes the light in all of you. Stay in touch, okay? Remember the links that I put in the chat, whether it's the programs, my online watercolor course coming in January, the New York trip in October, my website to stay in touch with, get the practice memos every month so you can join this practice series, and just the Leo Marchutz School support page if you'd like to make a contribution, all right? You're all fantastic. I can't wait to see you all
Nick,
again.
you know when your
Can I?
Together.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and what's up?
session is?
And you want to?
Can I show something?
What?
I was in the Leo Marchutz School, it's got to be 40 years ago.
Oh my God.
And this is Alan.
That's Alan?
This
Wait,
is
hold up.
Alan.
Mary and Grace,
I
check this out
found
real
it.
quick.
I found this going through some old stuff.
Oh my God.
Isn't that funny?
So, Anne, you did this of Alan 40 years ago?
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
And when I found it, it's like, I said to myself, I got to get back in touch with the Leo Marchutz School.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I just wanted to share this.
Oh, and wonderful. Well, you know what? I'm gonna make sure
Yeah.
that Rose sees that.
I think she has. I emailed it to her once, but
Fantastic. All right.
yeah.
Well, and yeah, and definitely stay in touch. I mean, great to have you
Okay.
back after 40 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep
Well, I've
coming
been
back.
taking classes, I live in Alexandria, Virginia,
Oh, cool.
and I've been retired a couple of years, but I'm sort of part-time working, part-time retired, and so I started back in watercolor, but it was a bit like starting over.
That's
But,
okay. The
yeah,
beginner's mind, you know.
uh-huh.
And
thank you.
keep an eye out for a DC area something in
Okay.
March of next year. Okay,
That'd be
that'll
great.
a great way to
Yeah.
bring you back in the loop in person.
Okay,
Leo,
it's so great to see everybody too. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
Leo, when will your get
Nick?
together and paint be next month? Do you know?
September something. You know what? Give me like 2 seconds and I could find it. September. 22nd, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's a Sunday.
Okay.
22nd. Okay.
All right. But in the email newsletters, mine or Leo Marschutz's, that's where you'll find out. All right.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Have a great
Okay.
week. Happy painting, happy drawing, and I'll see you all next time. All right.
Okay, yeah, thank
care.
you.
Ciao. Bye.
Bye.